I call and I made the appointment, and this is the first red flag. I make the appointment and they tell me to come at 7 a.m. in front of the line, and she was just like, "You're not from around here, are you?" And then, like, while I'm having the conversation with her, there's some people in line, and it's like, you know, some people were saying like little hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Just kidding. It is October, so I'm giving a spooky vibe, but just kidding. Today you're tuned in for the second episode of Natural Hair Horror Stories. In my first episode, I share about a horrible experience that I had with a sew-in that actually led to a bald spot on the side of my head. That video is going to be linked down in the description. But today I'm talking about like hair braiding gone wrong. Okay, so this video is hair braider edition. I'm sorry, I don't have no rap. I do not care. I am drained, and I just had a situation today that got me irritated too, but whatever. So what essentially happened for this situation is I decided that I wanted to get my hair in medium box braids long. Okay, long box braids, cute, easy for me to get around. Bada boom, bada bing, straight like that. So I decide that's what I'm getting, and I made an appointment at a braiding shop in Washington, D.C. Just to provide a bit of context, I am originally from New Jersey. I relocated to the Washington, D.C. metro area about a year and a half ago, but I do not live in Washington, D.C. So I made this appointment because it was one of those braiding shops that had like a larger presence on Instagram, and it came up in the top search results when I search Washington, D.C. braiding salons on Google. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go with this. I feel comfortable. So I call and I made the appointment, and this is the first red flag. I make the appointment and they tell me to come at 7 a.m. on the Saturday that I wanted to get my hair done. So I say, okay, cool. That concept is not foreign to me. The braiding shops in Jersey, and especially the one that I used to go to, open that early as well. So a 7 a.m. starting time is really not that early. Whatever, bet. Set for 7 a.m. They also mentioned on the call, though, they were like, you know, we encourage you to be there promptly at 7 a.m. because we are a salon that really takes walk-ins, and a lot of our clientele tends to be walk-ins. And so I said on the call, I'm like, okay, but I have an appointment. And they said, yes, we understand. But they had an issue in the past where essentially they were holding appointments for people wouldn't show, but then they would have like a long line of people waiting for walk-ins. So they kind of take it as if you're not there and you have an appointment, but a walk-in is there, they will take the walk-in before you. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be there at 7 a.m. Cool. Okay, cool. So you guys have that part. Mind you, I do not live in Washington, D.C. So I have to commute from where I live to get to D.C. to get to this appointment at 7 a.m. And I'm coming off a crazy work week beforehand. So honestly, I'm really pushing myself to make this early hair appointment, but I really want my hair done because at the time I'm thinking it's just going to make my life easier. I don't have to deal with my hair. Okay, it's cool. I lied to you guys. Like, I'm not lying at this point. I woke up at 5:15 a.m. And I know you guys are saying, okay, your appointment's at 7 o'clock. You woke up at 5:15. I am not a morning person. I am not a morning person, and because of that, I have to give myself enough time for me to really wake up and for me to be in a place where I can like really engage with people and do so, you know, in like a charismatic or even like a respectful way. I'm not saying I'm one of those people in the morning, like I have an attitude when I'm engaging with people, like don't talk to me, but it's very hard for me to navigate conversations when I am tired. So I need to wake myself up early to make sure that I'm good to interact with people with respect, if that makes sense. I know myself, so I know what measures I have to take to make sure I'm good, okay? And so I wake up that early. It's really groggy. I'm tired. It's raining that morning and everything. It's just one of those days. I get myself up. I get out of the door. I make my way to DC. Listen, The streets in DC, if you don't know them, it's just a headache. They tend to be very windy. It's like make a right at the roundabout, but the second exit on the roundabout, it just gets very hectic. It's like high anxiety. So that's like already adding to the pace of the morning. So okay, cool. I'm pulling up to where the salon is, and at first I'm not seeing it. So I end up having to do quite a few U-turns and stuff. I ended up being on the wrong street, but whatever, that's besides the point. I pull up to the salon. I lie to you not. There's 25 people standing outside of the salon. I got to the salon at 6:40 a.m. There's 25 people standing outside of the salon. So there's also someone that actually works at the salon, and she's like standing at the door and she's kind of talking to people. They seem to be having a regular conversation. So I'm starting to walk up, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm passing the people that are in the line because I'm thinking these have to be the people that are, you know, just doing like a walk-in appointment. They haven't made an appointment. And of course, I'm not one of those people that I'm just going to stand in a line if I don't know what you guys are standing for. So I'm going to talk to the person that's at the door. I lie to you guys not. I go to talk to the woman that's standing at the door, and I peek inside. All of the chairs are full with people getting their hair braided. It's 6:40 in the morning, and the salon said they opened at 7 a.m. So I'm talking to the woman. I say, I have an appointment, and she's like, and I'm like, mama, we could play the shoulder game all day long. What's that? Like, she's doing that, and I'm like, I have an appointment. And she said, all of our chairs are full and these people are in front of you. I said, how are these people in front of me? She's saying, like, these are our walk-ins. And I said, and I had an appointment. So we're kind of going back and forth at this point. And then also the thing that was really getting to me as well is because my thing is, when I spoke to the person on the phone, you guys told me that you open at 7 a.m. You told me to be there promptly at 7 a.m. I got there at 6:40. And that's what I was telling her. And she's like, oh, I don't know who you spoke to. Yes, we technically, if you look on Google or if you see it on Instagram, we open at 7 a.m. technically, but we really open doors at like 6:30, or if someone even gets here at 6 a.m. or 6:15 and people are already here, they start letting them in to start to get to braiding because we're very busy and very popular in this area. Mama, why are you giving me a Yelp review? Like, when I tell you guys that I am in shock, and I really am one of those people, like, I am quick to call corporate if there is a corporate. In this situation, there was no corporate, but I'm just telling her, like, you know, this is really inappropriate. Like, this does not make sense to me, and you can't have an opening time at a certain time, but for real, we don't open at that time, like that kind of thing. You usually hear those type of stories, like a place was supposed to be open at 9, but they came at 9:15. You never hear like, oh, a place was supposed to be open at 9, but they opened at 8. You just... And then, like, while I'm having the conversation with her, there's some people in line, and it's like, you know, some people were saying like little slick things, but then there were other people, like there was a woman that was like, she was at the front of the line, and she was just like, you're not from around here, are you? And I said, no. And she's like, this is like the most popular braiding salon in the area. And she was just saying, like, this is how they operate things because it gets really crazy. Like, they crank people in and out, they provide the hair, and they're quick too, and they tend to know like the new trendy hairstyles that comes out. So she was just telling me that creates a lot of demand for them, where sometimes they do like unorthodox things like opening their doors earlier because they know that they're going to get the clientele. And I'm telling her, like, you know, I respected the way that she was more so speaking to me than the nonchalant tone and the nonchalant body language of the person that actually worked there, because she was just breaking it down. And I'm always talking about like cultural norms and things like that, but as I said, like, I'm from New Jersey. I'm used to the way like they do things in Jersey. In Jersey, a walk-in can never go before an appointment, especially if it's before the appointment's time. It just could never happen. If someone had a late window of like, if you're 15 minutes late, we will give away your spot. We have the right to cancel your appointment. That's one thing. But like a salon in Jersey would never open their doors early and let a walk-in take an appointment before you. And so her and I actually had like a little bit of a conversation. I'm not saying we stood out there for an hour. It was like 2 minutes, and I was just telling her, you know, like, I'm from Jersey. I'm not sure exactly where I'm at, but I was telling the woman in line, I'm just saying, like, okay, for a DC native or a person that's from this area, that's something that they would know, but the way they're conducting their business is extremely unprofessional. And when I'm saying all of this, the woman that worked there that I was initially speaking to, she's in her phone at this point. Like, sis is over the conversation, like over. Like, she's acting like I'm stuck on a conversation from last week and she's moved on to the next week. Okay, that's how over it she is. Like, she's completely checked out. She probably has those type of conversations with people all the time where people are like, you know, this is BS essentially, that she's used to it. And so I'm telling the woman, like, they really are potentially stunning their growth. That's like the businessy person in me. Like, this is where like what I do in my professional life always seeps in to like any interactions that I'm having. I'm just telling her, like, there's the possibility to really stunt the growth for prospective customers, you know, in the event that someone is not from this neighborhood or is not from DC. How would someone know that? They just wouldn't know that. It's not like I see people under the Instagram comments saying like, hey, y'all be doing that weird stuff with people booking an appointment. There was none of that. And that just really is an issue to me. So anyway, I get past it. And at this point, as I said, my hair is out. When us melanin girls take our hair out, all bets are off. Something has to get done. So I start calling around to different braiding shops. Mind you, at this point, it's about 6:50 a.m. in the morning. Like 10 minutes has elapsed with like that little situation. So I'm like sitting outside of the same salon. I'm in my car. Like, I'm pissed off at this point. I'm calling around to different salons. Some places are closed. Some places are saying they don't take walk-ins. Others were saying they could make me an appointment, but it would be later in the day and that kind of thing. And it was just like, no, like, it's becoming an issue. So I finally found another hair salon that was down the street. So I called them. They said they could take me right now. I went. So as soon as I walked in, they're like, oh, you tried to go to so-and-so down the street, didn't you? I said, yeah. And they said, and it was wrapped around the block, wasn't it? Theoretically, okay, yeah, wrapped around the block, but it was like 25 people. It wasn't wrapped around the block. But I told them, yeah, and they were like, yeah, that's pretty much how we get our customers. So it was weird to see that they were essentially saying the way that their salon has started to gain notoriety is because people are so fed up by what goes on at the other salon that then they start searching their phones for something that is close by, and this salon is always the one that's open, so they tend to get the people that weren't able to get their appointment at the other salon. So the interaction started off really well there. And then they're like pulling the hair, prepping for the braids. And I lie to you guys not. I'm sitting there in my phone, and then the girl that's doing my hair at this new salon, she's like, oh, you have to put your phone down. And I'm like, why do I have to put my phone down? She's like, because you have to hold the hair. I have suffered in my life. I'm like, I have to hold the hair. She's like, yes, you have to hold the hair. That's what we do at this salon. While we're braiding your hair, just to help us, we have the customers hold the braiding hair in their hand like this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm pissed, but I'm smiling it out. And I did the pause. Like, we were just staring at each other. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she was like, actually, I'm going to have you part the hair for me. So at first when she said part the hair, I'm thinking she's telling me to like create my own boxes or whatever in my hair, and I'm telling her, oh, I can't do straight parts. Like, it's getting weird at this point in the salon. And she's like, no, not part the hair on your head, I need you to part the braiding hair. Still, I don't know how to part the hair based on what width you need for braids. I don't know how to part the hair. I am a customer. And she's like, hair, I'm gonna show you. So literally while she's braiding my hair, she's teaching me how to part the hair. Sometimes I'm taking too little. She's like, no, you taking too little, take more hair. Sometimes I'm taking enough hair for a jumbo braid. She's like, no, cut that in half. It's too much hair. You're gonna have some jumbo braids and some medium braids. Guys, it was a fiasco. She did my hair. I'm not gonna lie to you. The hair was beautiful. It was flawless, but I just didn't like the customer service. Just to think that, like, people deal with the nonsense when it comes to appointment making, to getting bumped from your appointments when you're there early, to also going into braiding salons and they're essentially like having you parting hair, holding hair, or even pulling the hair yourself. I just think all of that stuff is extremely inappropriate. Like, it is inappropriate, and don't get me wrong, I have been to a lot of salons where they have done things to a T that are doing stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, you're going to eventually lose your customer base. When I think about getting my hair done, I think about a process that is, you know, like carefree. It's a moment for me to relax. Like, I have a job where I'm currently like, you're alert, there's always a million things going on, there's always a whole bunch of conversations, a lot of work that needs to be done. So when I think about getting my hair done, it's literally a time for me to relax. And also considering how much these hair salons are starting to charge for braids and all of that, what I didn't tell you guys about the first salon is they were literally charging over $200 for box braids, which again, me coming from Jersey, is ridiculous. In Jersey, you pay $200 if you're getting waist length box braids. Bra strap length is $120, down some more is $160, $180 is also longer, and then the longest is $200. That's the longest they'll go. So like when I was in Jersey, it wasn't really popular for people to be getting like knee length braids and all of that stuff. So of course Jersey has probably increased their prices now, but when I was there, like, no one was doing that. $200 was the max that you were spending on some box braids, at least at the salon that I was going to. And so it's just to think about the fact that I was going to be spending over $200 for box braids that weren't all that long. Appointment got bumped. Then I go to this other salon, they have me holding hair and all of this stuff, and they were $180, so right underneath like the $200 that I would have paid in Jersey if I was getting extremely long braids. And mind you, the braids that I was getting were not even long, and it was just like a frustrating experience to me. And I think that the braids are getting out of hand, the passion twist and all of that stuff. And so I am eventually like trying to learn how to do the knotless braids. I would love to. I don't know, right now I'm kind of on the passion twist, trying to do faux locks and stuff like that. So that's the wave that I'm on right now. But sound off in the comments, tell me about your crazy hair braider stories, if you've ever been bumped from an appointment when you were there early. Like, this stuff is just crazy to me. Like, I'm getting pissed all over again talking about it. So my GC crew, we out.